get off the bus, fair
But
game.
it was on the bus under his shirt, so.
Just
Right, I
to
realize
go
that.
back with what Randy said about the different classifications of weapons, is it realistic to think a pre-K or a kindergarten student is going to understand all ranges of weapons?
No, that's why we went 3 to
That's
12,
what we
and
put
we'll
down
deal with
there.
the parents for
Okay,
pre-K
a
to
third
different-
grader.
Excuse me.
A third grader even has a full understanding of all weapons?
I think as far as what I talked to them, because I did the talks, we talked about, knives, we talked about guns, we talked about different cartridges and things that people use for hunting people. I mean, so do they understand all of it? Probably some of them don't have the same exposure, to be honest.
Is
But
that
we did try to touch base and had a visual up there,
That's something to be going over like every year, they have it, so
obviously now.
they'll hear it in third, they'll hear it in fourth, they'll hear it in fifth.
Is it appropriate, I know you guys have been around with I see a lot of the bullying stuff, and communications and posters and things like that, is it appropriate to keep it in front of them, reminding them? Because something like this is nice, and you bring it home and sign it. If I did this in September, by the time March, April rolls around,
The kids in this class, this happened early in the school year, and I went to all of the Southwest Tech students and talked to all of those kids. When I asked, do you remember, they all knew, it was all yes, they had been spoken to. Should we put posters up?
I mean, that's, there's been too much of that too.
Right, there's probably some reminders through OAS, I think, that can be done. So,
Sometimes you might not realize you gotta be honest, you know, you look at the poster.
Well, that's why I asked,
And that's-
if you can just stop and hand it to a staff person, and say, hey, I screwed up.
right.
It's
And that's
good
what
to
we pushed with them, don't go to Johnny and tell Johnny to tell teacher, go to any teacher in the hallway and say, this is my pocket. And that's, even if you're in gym class, we use that. You pull
One of
up
the-
your bag, and there's.
One of the situations, the boy had his in his pocket, wasn't doing anything with it, and his so-called friend reached in his pocket, grabbed it out, and said, oh, look what I found, and that's what, I mean, the boy had to suffer the consequence for that, but he had no intent of using it, but he can't have it. Who knows if the next kid might have used it that way too, you never know.
It was a classic example where you got it, so reaches in your pocket and grabs it. You might not have it,
Right.
but maybe they did.
But if somebody knew it was there,
They saw the other in your pocket.
well, I like the part with the staff, at least you can turn it in, so it gives them an element.
Do you have anything else for us?
No, thank you.
Okay, the next budget presentation will be on the 17th, that will be transportation. We also will be having a presentation from a bus company coming in to talk about rotations of buses and those types of things. That'll be at the same meeting. On the 6th of February, we'll be doing athletics and cafeteria. And on the 21st of February, it'll be administration. So those are the dates at this point of each, of the board meetings coming up with people who will present. Everyone in their packet, I just want to make sure got their 19A. The last time I did talk about it, we didn't have these slips. Basically what that was the review of the bus garage when DOT comes in. There were 2 errors that were found. Both have already been corrected. One was a physical, and the doctor wrote that somebody had 360-degree vision. It'd be nice. Instead of 180 and 90 on both sides. That's already been fixed by the doctor, and it was not the school doctor. It was a private doctor. And then the second one was a bus driver who no longer works here had had an accident in his own private vehicle and had reported it, so that we get dinged for that. So those are the 2, both have been corrected. The corrections have been sent already to Cary Street Police Office. So that is that. January 14th, I had asked the board members. Obviously, we know that Clifton Fine asked us for the meeting. We have no idea. They said anything from the simplest thing of a merger to a sport to a full merger. If anybody here has any ideas, please write them down so I can send it to them as well. They're supposedly supposed to give us a document. I asked for the same from them of what ideas, what requests, what do they have. Because, like I said, what came in the email was anything from sport to full merger. And I said, that's really broad. I'd like a little bit more before we meet. And also, they didn't say this, I'm asking the board, do we want to put a timeline on it? It's going to be 2 hours long, or it's going to be up to an hour, or do you want to leave it open-ended to see what happens?
What time is it starting?
9. like I said, when they sent this, the request over, it was very open-ended. So as it's getting closer, we've
I
been
think we
trying
need
to.
to constrain because otherwise it's gonna run wild.
Yeah.
Keep it to an agenda.
Are they buying those? That's kidding.
Well, I think the first thing we need to do is find out what degree they're not, you know, that's the thing. If you're going a full merger, it's obviously, if you're talking about sports, it's obviously, but
Right.
you can't even ask questions about the whole thing until you know what.
I think a couple hours is plenty of time to kind of get what's on your mind.
Sure.
Because
And
this
if
is
there's
kind of
anything we
fact
want to
part.
seriously consider, then we can use the end.
So do you want me to say to them, we're looking at 2-hour limit? And again, I asked for their agenda. I haven't got anything, I don't know if anybody has anything, you know,
This is their
the
meeting.
next. It is theirs, but if anybody came up with ideas or questions, you know,
Are you in the, have you asked for their agenda and you haven't got anything yet?
no.
If we don't get an agenda, I would suggest that we don't meet.
Everybody in agreement with that?
Yeah, because we really need to have something, to have them say, this is
Yeah.
what we're interested in.
One of the things, just to throw back, that I would put out as agenda, if we meet for this side, is that we would be willing to share like our cafeteria manager when theirs retires. You know, some of those simple things that we, the superintendent there and I talked about, but we would be willing to share ours, but not go that way. But there's, I guess, my understanding, maybe retiring in the next year or two. And again, we might be talking 2 years from now. But
The other thing is, I was looking up on the map, whether they would entertain, or whether Tupper Lake would entertain taking half the district. Because I just don't see how it's gonna be feasible for us to move buses that far with cost, fuel and buses and stuff like that.
I honestly think, you know, for them saying to do full merger is not even feasible. I think what they're looking at is from the smallest to the greatest. Again, I haven't met with anyone, I haven't talked about those things. Even if they wanted to go full merger, it's a 2 to 3 year process. It's not an overnight, it's not next year. It's, you know, both many communities have to vote, you know. It's not just they say it and it happens. So, but again, I keep trying to push them more, give me an agenda, give me something. But to date, we have nothing. So, okay, I will let them know then, if we don't have an agenda, that we won't meet and 2-hour limit. MOA, normally what I do is end up meeting with the union. We have a situation where we have an employee that has been working in entry-level jobs, and at entry level, we pay 85%. They get paid 85% for up to a year. Some of you might remember, we did an MOA this school year already, basically saying that if they went to a different job title of higher pay, then the year is still within the same year. One of the circumstances we left off, and I want to add the wording, and I have not met with the union or even brought it up to them yet, was to discuss the possibility, if you have somebody that moves from one job category, for example, that works in section A under one group of rules and things, and goes to section B, it may not be it's a totally different job change, which I'm not giving specifics because I can't do that. But I think that the entry level should still go in the same year. That if somebody's proven and you're willing to hire them at a different position within our school, why should they have to have another year of
What's
term?
the intent of the entry level wage is it to demonstrate their aptitude to the position? Or
That was long before I ever came here. I can't, that's what my guess that it is basically, so, and also so you don't train them, they leave. Because frequently in some of those positions, some districts felt very heavy training teachers' assistants, and then after a year they left, went to a different district because they got more pay. So it's kind of to stop people from jump jobs also, I think.
Does it go by years of service and entry level up through positions? Are years in service in that as well? If somebody switches job, does the years of service and then their steps, is that what you're saying?
No, this is just entry level for the first year. So again, that's what I'm looking at. If anybody has any concerns, I will be meeting with the union shortly to discuss it. Again, it's another one of those clauses when we did an MOA, we didn't think of that particular situation, but we tried to clean the language up with this. with litigation, I did send you, I believe, the one letter that came from the attorney's office with the subject of Reed Authority versus the Board of Education. I don't know if all of you had the opportunity to look over Judge Demer's decision. It is now public knowledge. So it can be spoken, is what the lawyer had said to me. Trying to find, I think that another letter. Basically, I received another letter that I didn't get out. That's basically, it says, and it's from Frank Miller, if you remember, he is our attorney in this particular case, and that he was, paraphrasing, extremely pleased to advise the decision of the current dismissal, that there is a process now that has to be followed. There's a 30-day procedure as far as the petitioner has to follow through. If they choose to then appeal further, they can, and then the district would have to make notice as well. If there is a further appeal, we would still be represented by Frank Miller, so he will continue to be the school's attorney. At this point, Miller's office feels that the next level is the appellate level, and that because of the job that Demers did do, that it probably would have the same decision at Demers's level, at the appellate level, because he went much further into the decision than he needed to go. But that still does not deny him his right to go further. But he felt that the decision and him finding the guilt in all 7 of the areas as well, and then dismissing the petition, basically, he felt closed the door. So that's where that is. And if anybody wants to see this letter, or again, I still have the transcripts, you're welcome to see it.
Can I ask some questions? Because-
Yes.
because, This is very interesting, thank you. Am I to read this correctly that in one scenario, if Rita had just been basically charged with dereliction of duty, and it's kind of what it sounds like, I don't know if that's the right term or not, but she didn't really perform her job to expectations and left the school at risk in some areas.
Yes.
It sounds like if that would happen in some other matters, then a demotion to her bus driving duties is customary in some cases, and has been awarded in some cases. They made a comment, I was just trying to find it again, that there was some, after the fact, discussions exchanged and
Things that occurred after.
yeah,
Yes.
and is that really what
It's
sealed
a
her fate?
combination,
Okay.
is what, at least what I read this, I'm not a legal person either, I mean, the legalese of it's very difficult, but he found guilty on all the 7 charges, the same as the 75A petitioner. So what he in turn said is that by those things, and based on, the character of these issues and things that happened after, that the district was well within their limits to let her go.
So I guess my
And there's, if you see, there's several case laws
yeah,
that they referred to, and that all of them were in favor of the district.
it's very confusing to read.
Yes, it is.
The legalese.
I was rather surprised that Demers took it to as long as he was making a decision on it, he took it to such an extreme. Really, he dismissed her petition with prejudice, and that's basically it.
Kind of, that's our attorney's feeling, but again, that never completely shuts the door.
No.
I mean, the person has the right. What happened though, just to let you know, that our attorney said he felt that this should go to appellate court when we met in court on July 8th. And he said that this should go to appellate. Her attorney did not ask for it to go to the appellate court. So Demers could have just made a very simple decision whether or not 75A procedures were followed, or he could read it completely through and
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
and
I'm
he
surprised
read it
didn't.
completely through, which was a surprise, because her attorney wasn't the one that asked for it to go to appellate, we did.
Yeah.
So, but that's why it was dismissed completely. So if anybody wants to see the other letter, but it's just basically explaining the 30-day process and what we'll have to do with that. He will continue to cover the district, and it continues to be under insurance expense. I've heard nothing from the union as to, what they will do or not do as far as it's not carrying it further. And I don't mean local, I'm talking about NYSEG and their attorney. Also, there was discussion as far as the article that was in the paper and how did it get in the paper. My understanding from the reporter is anything is a public document once it goes through the courts, and they get the ledger basically and write articles for what they feel should or shouldn't be written. So that's how it did get into the paper.
Which is about all the paper does anymore, is just get the dockets, that's all they do.
Well, if you look at the yellow sheet, yours probably isn't yellow. If you look at the docket from Demer's office, they took the findings right off of the docket and put it in the paper. So there was no changing of words, there was no additions, deletions, I mean, they put the exact wording there.
In this case, it's now in the law books, you can't. If you want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anybody can pull the whole thing, read the whole trial,
Read all the transcripts.
all the transcripts, so, I think probably over about 1,000 pages. Okay, test calendar. The reason that we are bringing that up, this is really different this year for grades 3 through 8. We've always had the ELA and the math tests. But now what they're going to do in their infinite wisdom in April, on 17th, 18th, and 19th, all students grades 3 through 8 will have their test on the same day, same 3 days. So normally what we've done is run and scurried and used, like for the elementary, they probably used 10 to 12 extra people per grade level to take a test, and 7 to 9 extra rooms in addition to the classrooms being used. Now, with all the grades taken on the same day, the same times, we don't know that we're going to be able to do it. To be perfectly honest, we're not the only school. One of the things we're going to eventually look to do is a couple of things. Either dismiss pre-K to 2 and not have them come to school, which would then enable all of those teachers to be test givers modifications. We don't even have enough subs to hire, and not all of our subs are of the quality or nature that can give a state test. So I'm just bringing it up now. Concern being, if you have pre-K through 2 not come to school during those 3 days, parents may not have babysitters. We're perfectly honest, because if 9 through 12 still comes to school because of regions, those are your babysitters in the community. So I'm just throwing this out here right now because we're going to have to make a decision a little bit later. The other part of that is not only do we have 3 days in early April for the ELA, we have math at the end of April. 3 more days, the 25th, 26th, 27th, that 3rd through 8th grade all have to take the tests again, same days, same times. And we would have to figure out test mods, rooms, the schedules. So it's logistically a nightmare. All the superintendents, the district superintendents have complained. Didn't do any good, obviously, because the test dates are still all the same. So I'm just putting it out there for right now. We are not sure what we're going to do. So we might be coming back to ask to, we do not want to shut down 9th through 12th grade for 6 days in April because of the regions. One of the things we looked at the possibility of doing is having like 9th to 10th come for 3 days and full region some for the 3 days, don't have the art, gym, musics. And then the next 3 days, it would be 11th and 12th region days only. The teachers would have them for 2 or 3 periods a day to make up for the 3 mixes. So we're running a couple of ideas right now to look at it. And what we need to do is sit down and figure out exactly how many tests, how many modifications we need to see our numbers. But this was just released, so it's kind of fresh in our minds. We got a document that was, a notice that was received from Mrs. Stacia Bronizer that went to the commissioner. At this point, some of the board members have not picked up their packets. They are in my office if you would like to pick it up. Our attorney will be writing a letter to the Department of Counsel, and then at that point we wait to see what happens. But it is, again, it's a public document. Anybody's able to come and read it if they want. If you want a copy, you have to pay to have it copied. But we do have it here in the district office for anybody that is interested. fitness center, early in the year, we had a committee together for the fitness center, some years ago, we were on the committee. We had put a survey out, only 5 people answered the survey. 3 of the people were people that had never used the fitness center before. We have had numerous requests in the last, and I think more because of the new year, everybody's gonna lose weight and get healthy, but we've had numerous requests of how can they now use those things. Both the weight room and the fitness center for after-school hours. So I don't know if you want to revive the committee, if you want to look at other schools and how they do it. Some districts do not have anybody on duty. I know that's what our main cost goes to, is the person on duty that is paid for legality reasons. There's other ways we can do it, or I don't know. So those who are on the committee, what does it feel?
So the fitness center's still shut down, nobody's using it,
Correct. During after school hours,
but they can use it during school hours?
during school time.
I think our insurance company would probably recommend that us not have it unless we could pay out somebody in there.
Do we want to check what's,
What,
Ask Judy.
ask Judy?
in order for somebody to monitor it, what would their qualifications have to be?
Terry, do you want to address that, or? When we're in open session, it does give the public the opportunity just to ask questions or to answer.
Usually, once we go into our, this is our work time now, if you have a question, if you could come back.
So you won't answer that question? My
No.
suggestion would be is, if public would volunteer, I would volunteer,
I'm not sure,
just a suggestion.
That was on the
Okay.
survey, just to let the board know for those who didn't. But I'll call Judy first to find out, but there have been 5 people lately that have been using it. I had to go and tell them they couldn't use it.
Right.
I've had 3 gentlemen using the weight room, which again, they can't go in, they're unsupervised.
Right.
So, but all of them are community members, and I said I'll bring it up tonight and see if we want to, either get the committee back together or check with Judy.
Do we want to check with other schools and see? Well, let's check with Judy first and see what she says through the insurance. Because if she says we have to have it, then we have to have it. And if she says it's an option, maybe we can check with other schools, or we can, someone on the board can check with other schools.
How did they do it in the past?
We've had a paid person on duty. It initially started as grant money, and then it went to budget money, and it was a minimum wage hourly rate. So it was open 3 days a week, basically, for a couple of hours.
Are we required by law to have a monitor?
You're required because if somebody were to be injured or hurt, to have somebody there is why the district did that as a support. The person was trained on all the machines and had to make sure all the people were trained. So that's
So that would be what the qualifications are, that the person coming in, whether
First
it be a
aid.
volunteer, would have to have first aid and be trained on the equipment.
Well, they had to have AED. I don't know that they had to have CPR. I can't remember that offhand. So that's why I didn't want to say, because I'm not sure. But I know they had to take the AED training.
And then if you want the committee to come back together, I think we can.
We did put a suggestion box on the school webpage. It was in the newsletter. Anybody that has ideas for the budget that wants to present them can put, in a suggestion or recommendation. That is on the webpage, and I know it hasn't been used yet, but it is there. We had a bus, and this is not on the agenda because it just happened. Bus 86 has been put off the road by Department of Transportation, and I'll hand the picture around. Basically, when they came to do their general inspection, he put his finger through the outside of the bus. It's the bottom bumper. This was one of our buses we were using at the time, and we can no longer use it. It's red tagged. Basically, what that means is that it can't be used, and we cannot trade it in to get money for it now. So it's put us in a difficult position for that. It also means we have another bus we can't use. If you look, this is the outside. This picture shows, and it's got, as you look up on the inside, there's a place where the bus drains and moisture drops from the inside down, and that's really what caused that to drop. But it was the gentleman, when he was here inspecting the buses, red tagging it. It also then goes against the district on our survey at the end, when we, last year we were like 98.8% or something. We won't be this year. When they red flag it, then it goes against our count. In looking at our, that was one of the buses that we did want to get rid of last year. What we did today, I went up with Frank and Taj, and bus 82 was going to be the bus that we were going to replace it with. However, I'm going to show you the pictures. This is on one bus. Rust on outside, and that's not as much of a concern yet. This was looking in, you can completely see the outside. Actually, I'll pass this one around over. This is on the other side of the bus. So we already know that this one, on February 12th, is going to be digged. This is the different section that was patched last year. This is another section on the back end, and I'm showing you. The most concerning, and I chose to take the bus off the road today, when you go under the bus, there's struts that run across, and it's what holds the flooring in place on the buses. The pictures are not good, they're hard to see. You can see that the metal is supposed to be flat and flush. It's bent, it's twisted, and it's actually broken in the middle. So these two buses, this one, we did just take off the road. And I'll pass that way. Obviously, it puts us in a difficult situation. Those are the two buses that we wanted to trade last year that we didn't trade because the proposition didn't go through. At this point, with those two buses, and I'll be happy to take the board up next meeting, Todd, so be happy to come in if you want to look and see it in person. But it puts us in a bad position because now neither of those buses will be able to be traded. So we lose about $2,500. It's not a huge amount, but it is, it's an amount when you're talking about $106,000 per bus.
For each one? Or
Yes, for each bus. No, about what we got a year ago, last year, not the year before, when we traded those buses, and we got them at the same time. There were, a group of them we got together. We had gotten $2,500 for each of them, so that we had traded those two. And basically what happens, after 7 years, the bus depreciates half value within 7 years, automatic. And then every year there, depending on miles, depending on the situation of the bus, the appearance, the inside, outside, it just continues to depreciate or go down. But with that bus, there's no doubt in my mind that it would be red tagged. It's actually in worse condition. And I had Todd initially taken the door off the bus. They did red flag until we put it up on the hoist today. And like I said, it's in worse condition than the one they did red tag.
There's no repair options.
No.
How old are these buses?
They are buses from '99. The problem is that, again, like I said, last year they were ready to be traded, the two of them, they weren't traded. The one we were using for BOCES, one of the things, when we use a bus for BOCES, we're putting 1,500 miles a month on a bus, just for our BOCES runs. Because we go BOCES back and forth, several times. So in doing that, we rack the miles heavily on those buses. And because of the regime and how some of them have been traded the last couple of years, the one bus only has about 85,000 miles on it, as opposed to other buses that have 110, 115, 120,000. So that's the concern with one of the buses. We are going to use the other spare bus. At this point, the driver who's doing the BOCES run right now is going to have to drive their bus till we can get the cameras off. It's not a good idea to send any bus to BOCES without cameras. So we're working to take the cameras off, get them up onto the other spare bus. I'm letting you know at this point only because we could come into another situation if we have a bus breakdown. Currently, the 30 passenger bus 92, the hose is still not in. We're still waiting. They've gone to Ford. We've talked to them. They said this is a really common part, they can't tell us why it's not in. I mean, when they were picking up another bus, they specifically, questioned, asked them, and they said, we can't tell you when it'll be in. So, the bus that was totaled, I did put a letter in to the commissioner, Dr. King, to see basically if he is going to grant us money. I've heard nothing. And I think that's a very long process. So currently, without those buses, we do have to return her to cows. I'm not sure if it got back today or not. If not today, in the next day or two. But they do need their bus back. So that's,
What bus did you took off the road? That could still be traded, right? That hasn't been done.
Can't be trained.
it won't be rated. The reason being because of the bent metals and certain things we're taking off before it gets big. The reason I'm taking it off is then it doesn't count against us.
Okay.
Now, we can still have him inspect it when he comes, and he can take it off officially. I know they're going to, there's no doubt, when you look at this bus compared to what that one had, that it's going to go. We knew that the back door on the one bus was going to go, and your finger could push right through it. And it's just rust. But like I said, they're 99s. So. But that's-
So if our budget doesn't pass this year and we go to contingency again, what does that mean? We have to replace buses.
Well,
We have enough.
We again have to put buses on separate propositions, like we did, were they separate last year? Okay, but again, put it up and then go from there and see what happens. But with these two buses, at this point, we have to have at least two more plus the one, the replacement. And actually, they'll probably be asking for more, to be honest.
Are we gonna get the whole list like we do
Yes.
usually?
Yep.
Okay.
If Frank's, he and I were working on that today, because he's never done through this process here. So,
Next meeting, we would like to go to bus drive. See that.
if we could meet then, at like 7:15, anybody who wants to go up, I'll take you up. And just do it earlier so that we don't have to put it into the meeting. Sorry, I have to do this.
We have spare buses.
And we'll put it on the agenda